Everybody! So, happy opening day, everybody, and what an awesome day. If you're a baseball fan or if you're a Yankee fan, you know, 2, 3, and 4 in the Yankee lineup, and they definitely didn't disappoint. Giancarlo Stanton with 2 home runs today, and then Shohei Ohtani, who's on the cover of SMR magazine this month, had a single in his first game as an Angel. And so just an awesome day, and I have a 15-card PSA return that I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. But before I do that, just want to make an announcement that I will be on Beyond the Cardboard with baseball collector Mike on Sunday. It's going to be live 9 p.m. on Easter Sunday. So for those of you that are a fan of my channel, I would really appreciate it if you guys could tune in. Like I said, we're going to be on live, and I usually don't do things live, so we'll see how it turns out. And I'll put a link to the video, and of course, if you can't watch it live, you know, it's Easter Sunday. I know a lot of people got things going on. 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure he'll play. There's always the replay available, so it's a really cool show. It's an opportunity to kind of learn about the different YouTubers out there, and he's got some really interesting questions prepared for this. So hopefully you guys can make it. Again, 9 p.m. Eastern. I will put it a link to his channel in this video. So, without further ado, let's get into the cards. And before I get into the PSA reveal, I got this in the mail. Nick Banks. Whoever this guy is. I don't think even Nick Banks knows who Nick Banks is. So I got that. It was like one of those redemptions. So with the PSA return, 15 cards, I had 3 modern cards that came back as a Mint 9, 7 that came back as a Gem Mint 10, and then I had 5 vintage cards, sort of vintage. I don't know if you guys consider 89 as vintage, but I'll get into those last. So starting off, I got this 2017 Topps Update Aaron Judge bat on shoulder. This is actually not bat on shoulder. The bat on shoulder is the super short print version, and as you can see, it's not necessarily on his shoulder. So obviously mislabeled. Kind of reminded me of the last submission, my beautiful Lucas Sims card. That I still can't believe. Like this, you know, I understand PSA, but this is just outrageous. But I'm not going to give him too much crap for getting this wrong. But I wish this was the super short print version because it would be worth a lot more money. But that came back as a 9. The next card up is this 2010 Bowman Platinum George Springer Mint 9. And Springer was the World Series MVP, and in his first at-bat today, hit a home run to start off the year. And this is one of those guys that is definitely below the radar. You know, everyone's paying attention to Correa and Altuve on the Astros. This guy doesn't get a lot of love, so I figured, you know what the hell, I'll try to see if I can get a PSA 10. So for whatever reason, this did not come back as a 10, but still a really nice looking card. And then the other card, the other modern card that I got back that did not come back as a Gem Mint 10 was this guy, 2013 Manny Machado, came back as a PSA 9. Again, I'm not entirely sure why it didn't get a 10, but whatever. You know, you guys can see, I didn't go like this submission wasn't as crazy as my last submission when I had these 2 cards in the last submission. So Mint 9, you know, he might end up a Yankee in who knows, in 2018 possibly. But I'm still rooting for you know, Miguel Andujar to take over the third base position. All right, so 7 PSA 10s starting off. So this card came back as a PSA 10. And to me, this is the card to own. You know, if you just want to own the base Aaron Judge card, you know, nothing special here. I got a complete set for Christmas, and I actually broke it open and submitted a couple of cards. And this one came back as a Gem Mint 10. Speaking of that complete set, I also got back this Andrew Benintendi, which is only part of the complete set. It's like a short print exclusive red jersey card that only comes as part of the complete set. And the Benintendi came back as a PSA 10. Next up, and it's funny because I already have this card, so... And there's the other version I already have. So I have two now Topps Allen and Ginter Bryce Harper minis in a PSA 10. This one came back as a PSA 10, so I figure this one would come back as a PSA 10 as well. And sure enough, it did. The interesting thing is side by side, these cards look very different. So that's interesting. I never even realized that. 2012 Topps Allen and Ginter. So if anybody knows why the two cards are different, it's interesting. So anyway, I didn't notice that until I just looked at it. But who knows? I might end up giving one of these away eventually because don't need two of them. Maybe I do. I don't know. Next up, another 10. You know, this is... it's just a base 2015 finest, but it's a Mike Trout, and it looked like a 10, so I figured I'd submit it, and sure enough, came back as a 10. Pretty much, you know, if it's Mike Trout and it looks like it's going to be a 10, might be worth submitting. And you guys know that I'm a huge fan of Clint Frazier, and this is just, again, a base Bowman Sterling prospect auto. Came back as a Gem Mint 10. Next up, this is again a card that I just had in my personal collection that I wanted to submit, and a card that I really like. I'm a big fan of Dylan Bundy. He was one of those huge prospects, and he started off his career a little rocky, but since then last year he was pretty good for the Orioles. And then, of course, you got Machado. If Machado signs with the Yankees, whether it be Bryce Harper or Machado, obviously their cards are going to go up, kind of like this guy right here. So I think that one of these cards, like if one of these cards where you have two players on one, and if they both turn out, I just kind of like this card. So that's that. 2013. Bowman Chrome, Correa, came back as a PSA 10. Again, not a very expensive card, but again, I was looking at it and I was like, this looks like a 10, so I submitted it, and it came back a 10. And then finally, guys, I had 5 vintage cards, and I had mentioned this card. It's funny because these next 5 cards, these are the only 5 cards that I picked up at the show in White Plains back in January. And so I hadn't seen these cards until like 2 days ago. And I picked them up back in January. So I got this card, and I mentioned this card as one of the cards that you can get in a PSA 10 for under $30. And you can see here, I don't know why, I just felt like submitting it. You could clearly see that it's not a Gem Mint card. Even a PSA 9, I felt like they were being generous. But with that being said, it's a really nice looking card, and it looks really great in the PSA holder. So there you have it. Again, another card that I hadn't seen since the White Plains show, and I picked this. This is a card that I've always wanted to get. 1978 Topps Eddie Murray. And again, you guys know the deal with me. For me, it's all about aesthetics, how the card looks. And regardless of the grade, this card just looks really nice to me. Came out as a PSA 6, which I thought it might have a chance at a 7. Really nice looking card. Eddie Murray's rookie, obviously. And again, a card that I've always wanted to own. Next up, this was pretty cool. The 83 Topps Traded Darryl Strawberry came back as a PSA 9. So really, really nice looking card. I think I got this for like, I don't know, maybe $10 to $15 at the show. I think I got it as actually a throw-in on the next card that I'm going to show you guys. So beautiful card. Again, a card that I've always wanted to own. Darryl Strawberry. Yeah, look at that card. It's beautiful. PSA 9. And I got two more left, guys. Now, this is a card that, you know, the Fleer Update Puckett and the Fleer Update Roger Clemens are two cards that, you know, just always seemed completely unattainable as a kid. I remember, like, seeing the prices on these, on the 84 Fleer Update, and I was always like, why would anybody spend that kind of money? So I got this at a pretty good price. I think I paid like 70 bucks for this card raw, and ended up getting it graded, and looks really nice. Came back as a PSA 8, the late and great Hall of Fame Kirby Puckett. And then finally, the last card, probably the biggest card of the submission, and again, a card that I picked up at the show in White Plains back in January that I hadn't seen until like 2 days ago, is this beautiful 66 Topps Willie Mays. And this was one of those cards that was in with a bunch of other raw cards, and stuck out like a sore thumb for me. And I was just like, that card is absolutely beautiful. And I remember the guy was like, oh, it might have a chance at a 7, you never know. And sure enough, it came back as a PSA 7. So was very happy with this. This card, I think, you know, goes for about $600 to $700, and I paid, I don't know, maybe $250, $300 at the show. So I'd say I did very well getting it coming back as a PSA 7. So that's it, guys. Like I said, I hope that you guys can tune in to the live show on Sunday with me and Mike. We'll be chatting it up, and hopefully it'll be fun. And if not, then hopefully nobody tuned in. I don't know how it'll turn out, but anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I just saw that the baseball crate got shipped out, so you know that'll be I'll be showing that off in a couple of days. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.